Hey, what's up, guys? It's Eddie's one half of the Horror Highway. I'll try to keep this intro short. I just want to let you guys know that I'm using this list. It should be linked in the description. That gets posted on 4chan Creepypasta threads, showing us original 4chan Creepypastas. So that's what I'm using. Yeah. It was a steep Tuesday night winter. What many could regard as a time of comfort for family and bonding. I didn't get any of that any year. I've lived on my own for a couple of years now as an antisocial worm. I was preparing myself for another restless night when I had noticed the windowsill was open. I found this odd because, obviously, I didn't recall opening it, though it could have been my imagination. I firmly shut the panel and continued my routine of getting into my pajamas. The closet felt emptier today, not to mention it was a mess. Snugly, I fit myself and get into bed to turn on the TV, despite the odd occurrences. It was roughly 1 a.m, and I didn't feel a wink tired, just groggy and sick. I shifted through channel after channel, tapping at the remote until the batteries unfortunately died. Though I really didn't want to. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen so I could replace them, and what the fuck? The kitchen was a mess. Was someone here? How? I locked my front door. I was paranoid now, as I began organizing everything, feeling watched. I kept the kitchen knife close to my person while finishing up. A jolt running down from my spine as clattering pots sounded from the pantry. Who the fuck is there? I called to the closed door, with a blade brandished, slowly reaching for the knob before the door flung open. Inside, I found a girl. She looked no older than 10, with skin as dark as the night, and unnaturally gray blue hair that somehow had an enchanting teal glow to it. She had her face stuck to a pot, and I grabbed the handle to pop it off. My eyes went wider at the abyss that was the girl's face. Nothing but 2 large blue eyes and glowing lips. She tilted her head at me, focusing on my being rather than the knife I practically held in her face. I lowered my arm and rubbed my head. Kid, how the hell did you get in here? Where's your parents? She could have been my neighbor's daughter, but even then, there's no way she'd be able to get into my house. I was met with silence as the girl walked past me and sat at the couch while playing with the remote. Hey, leave that alone. I sat beside her and snatched it away, but to my dismay, she already opened the back and had the batteries in her mouth. I tried to speak, but she swallowed them whole, leaving me clueless as to what the hell I was talking to. Was this even a child? Or some freaky alien? She sure felt otherworldly. My hand gently ran through the hair of the girl. It felt like a cold vacuum. Like space, if you would. I rode my head and gathered myself. Getting up to the kitchen, I snagged a bag of chips and tossed them to the girl while I tried getting a hold of the police. And didn't want to be seen as some kidnapper. Yes, hello? I'd like to make a report. I began with the operator, watching the little girl gnaw at the bag to try and open it. Walking over, I tore the top of the bag and continued. Yeah, there's a lost child at my apartment. No clue how she got here, but I hope you guys could come by and help. I was delighted as the operator confirmed they'd sent someone over in the morning, just had to last the night. I sat back beside the girl, who was stuffing her face with no manner after sucking the chips up like a damned vacuum. It was endearing, in a freaky way. The girl must have been starving, with how fast she dug in and finished the family-sized bag. Alright, kid, come on. I gently grasped her hips and sat her in my lap as I turned on the living room TV. Then I continued on rather tame, and when my eyes got too heavy, I fell asleep while holding the child close. Hours pass, and I wake up in a cold sweat and a splitting headache, clutching my head with a groan. I have no clue if something I drank that day had alcohol, or what, but it hurt. Unfortunately, I woke up the kid, but she didn't cry or even yelp. She just smiled up at me, curiously. It was, yet again, endearing. It filled me with reassurance, and so I got up lightly from the couch with her following. I prepared breakfast until a knock sickly slammed my door, making the kid, no, Kieta is what I think I'll call her, it sent her hiding. So I went to check it out, and there was the police here about the child report I made. I told them that I must have been drunk, and that I apologized for wasting their time with an issue that didn't exist. As soon as they left, I called Kieta out from her hiding spot and gave her a tight hug. They were going to take her away, and I didn't want that anymore. She gave me a joy that I've lacked for years. As soon as breakfast was finished up, I took her to the living room and booted up my Xbox One. With controller in hand, I asked her if she wanted to play any games, though I was sadly met with silence. That was okay. Her smile told me everything I needed to know. So we played Sonic Racing for a few, maybe 4 hours. She was laughably bad, but it was cute watching her try her best, you know? Once the gaming session was over, I treated her to some lunch by using Uber Eats to send some McDonald's for us. When the food arrived, I brought it in and found Kieta had already planted herself in a chair. To my surprise, she didn't gobble any of the food down. She watched me eat with content. Cheshire grin. I have to admit, by now I already felt myself getting tired. I'm never usually this sleepy in the afternoon, but I couldn't fight it. I told Kieta that she could watch the TV and join me when she was ready. Going right up to bed and clocking out for a good couple hours. I woke up in a sweat again. Kieta was sitting on my lap, staring at me. Was she watching me sleep? You need something, hon? Silence, as always. It gets quite annoying, but I suck it up and try going back to sleep, cuddling her in my arms. This process goes on for days, no weeks. I feed her. We play games, I sleep. I wake up feeling like shit, and there she is, watching me like a guardian angel or a guard dog. I had to see a doctor to see if he knew what was up, but all I learned is I'm not brushing enough. Gee, thanks. I sat down with Kieta on a Tuesday evening, fighting any sleepiness I had, so I could talk to her. I don't feel well, hon. It feels like my head is always aching, like I'm hearing things, and I don't think I can keep taking care of you in this state. Please, I need you to tell me if you'll be okay if I arrange a babysitter for you. She didn't speak a peep, just nodding in an uneasy pace. I had to go with it, but I had skepticism, and got up. She took the remote and watched the TV. I set up a camera in my room to see if I could get down to the bottom of this and figure out why my sleep was so horrible every fucking night for the past 2 months. Once it was all adjusted, I rested in my bed and got as comfy as I could. My eyes slowly sank and I drifted off for the night. When I awoke, I was shocked. Kieta wasn't on me like usual. I got up and quickly scurried out of bed. Kieta! Kieta! I called as I made my way to the living room. She wasn't there either, not in the kitchen nor bathroom. I felt an immense dread like none before. Did she get kidnapped? Did she wander out of the house? Either way, I dashed for the phone to file a missing person report. Hours passed, and the sun rested across the horizon. The clouds had never felt so gray to me. I sat in my bed with the phone close by for any call of the cops. When it caught my attention, the camera I set up that night, I had to know where she went. I snatched the metal trinket and rewound through, searching for answers. Something finally caught my attention. Something that made my blood run cold. That was Kieta sitting over me last night, but something about her face was almost eerie. Her hair was much longer and looked like it was fucking floating. I leaned in as the girl I once trusted showed its face to the screen. It was horrific. It was horrific as it was beautiful. Two massive eyes that reflected the night sky, and a gaping blue mouth devoid of teeth. Just a mystical void. She was sucking something out of me. My soul? No, it wasn't that. It was a light pink bubble that just looking at it gave me a sense of comfort. Like a dream. She devoured the bubble. She faced the camera and turned tail, opening the window. In the 2 months I had known her, she muttered a phrase that won't leave my mind. The last thing it ever said as it leaped from the windowsill into the night. "Good night, Mr. Prince."